conference will now be recorded.
And we'll call to order the October meeting of the South Whitehall Township Environmental Advisory Council. So since we have a guest here, why don't we just go around the table and introduce ourselves?
Hi, I'm Chris Stroller. I am the staff liaison. I'm the long-range planner and special projects coordinator. If you don't mind, Herb, can you just introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Herb Bender with South Whitehall Township, Director of Township Operations.
Thanks. Welcome, Herb.
Thank you.
I'm Sarah Seipel. I live right up the road. So my motivation here, I have 2 kids that are young. I've been with the Green Advisory Council, which was before, so you're giving a load on here. So I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I really, really enjoy it. It's a great group, and we get to have fun together, and
Do good things.
and do good things.
Yes.
Feel good about it. Yeah.
Marie North, I was on the Green Advisory Council with Sarah and Frank before. Maybe.
Forgettable.
Eric was the chair for a year.
We were on Green Advisory Council before we started here.
She's blinded by my beauty.
I showered today.
I feel terrible. Sorry. So that's enough. I live here in the township.
Wonderful.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm Derek Bingham, geologist for the Navy, currently on furlough. And yeah, I've been part of the Green Advisory Council here for a while. So it's kind of, I do environmental cleanup for a living. So just trying to utilize my knowledge to help the township.
Amazing. So I just moved to the township 3 months ago from the West Coast. I have experience in a Natural Resource Advisory Committee and a Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and I worked 6 years at a compost facility. So when I was looking into solid waste, this was the closest approximation that I could find. So I decided to come check it out. And
That's great.
Awesome.
That's great.
Welcome. I'm Frank Petroselli. I'm the current chair of the committee.
I got a phone call.
Sorry, chemical engineer. For this township for 20+ years. So, have someone interested in environmental issues. Mark, introduce yourself, please.
I got the spot.
No, nothing personal.
That's all right.
I know you're looking for friends. You got Sarah on one side, and you always sit next to you. You feel a little more comfortable.
I'm good.
I'm Mark Bassis.
Sean is visiting.
Oh, Sean, welcome. Glad you're here. Oh, there's my packet. Wait, right here?
Yeah, there's one there. Just the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. You said Sean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Do you want to sit next to Marie? I'm sorry.
Here first, I figured I'd be inviting.
Don't want to block anyone at all.
Mark, in case you're interested in sitting next to Derek, you can shower today.
That'll be hard on Marie. I want to be sensitive to Marie. It's okay. I'm not that far away.
All right, let's move on. Next order of business is the minutes from the September meeting. Make a motion to accept those minutes into the record. Second. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
And Sarah. Okay. Next on the agenda, we've had a couple of activities in the last few weeks, so I thought it'd be good to just spend a few minutes to talk about our experiences at those events, activities, and see if it generates any ideas for some other stuff we might want to think about doing. So the first was the Sunset to Summit Festival, where we had a table. We talked to a bunch of residents, mostly about the upcoming open space referendum. Sean, for your, just so you're aware, we're the upcoming election on November 4th. There's a ballot question on whether we want to increase the earned income tax in the township to devote some of that increase toward open space renovation.
We'll have more discussion then too. I have a memo on it so we can get into details.
So just open it up to the floor. What do people think about our participation in the event? Was it worth doing? Felt like I think we talked to a lot of people. I think it was definitely a good activity. Actually got to meet some of the commissioners came by, which was nice. So that was good to have some dialogue with them. So just general thoughts.
I thought it was good. I think we hopefully got our message out to the people that were there. It seemed most of the people I talked to at least were already pro referendum.
If they knew about it.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it was minimal effort on our part to be able to go and have a presence there, to be able to see us and talk to us. And I love that we were all there. I thought having us all there too made a difference. So I loved it. I'd love stuff like that. So I'd do it again.
More opportunities coming later on the agenda. So
Yeah, you guys started now. Yeah, you're never getting out of it again. I'll say I was thrilled just to have. I was very proud to have every member of the board that I liaison for attend that, and to we blew Park and Rec out of the water, so that was great. But no, it was fantastic. I'm usually the guy that they're always like, oh, go do a table and stuff like that, and to have not only just all of you be there with a good message. I thought that the summary of like what you guys are doing as an EAC was excellent as well. I hope that there was like some outreach even on that of like people not knowing we have an EAC and what that is. But I think the table looked great. Like, you guys did an amazing job. I'm looking at you, Sarah. It was really cool because we get a lot of vendors. There's been a big push to just kind of like take pride in what we have in the township. They like to use a lot of vendors who are like township businesses and things like that. And to be able to have a good table of the township board to show like residents doing good things, it was excellent. So thank you all for being dedicated to that.
And Chris, to add to what you said, I think with the commissioners, it carried a lot of weight. I think they realized like I agree with you. It was great that we were all there. It meant we were serious. We all took our Saturday and stepped to the plate. So thank you.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I had commissioners come up to me and say they were glad to see me, glad to, like, I guess they knew Sarah was there, they knew you were there, and I guess Derek was there before I got there, so they knew. But, they said, oh, you came good, so they're noticing that we're there. And I thought it was a really good event. I like that there were so many township things present there. What was it? The fire company, the police.
Yeah.
Both fire companies were there, was it, or did they combine?
At least several of them. I mean, we have 4 in the township. I don't know if Herb knows who all was there. I think at least 3 of them were there.
All 4 of them actually were there. Triclover, Woodlawn, Citronia, and Greenewald. All 4 did attend.
Okay. One of the things that I'd ask is, and thanks Marie for like pointing that out. So this was kind of the first time we've done this event with this theme. It combined like the Sunset to Summer kind of concert festival from last year with the community, or with the Family Safety Day, it used to be called, where you get a lot more of that like emergency response and so forth. So it's definitely like, it's the first time we've done this. So any feedback you guys had on that, it sounds like it was nice to see all the different facets of the township.
Yes, I think that part was really good.
Am I able to ask Herb a question?
That's up to him. He might not answer
Herb,
you.
hi, this is Mark. What did you hear from the township of like because you're a big dog here. Was there feedback on the EAC that we were all there, engaged?
Yeah, it was very well represented from the EAC. You guys did a great job answering the residents' questions. It was great to have you guys there. And as you could see, that's why I'm going to be coming back when it brings me to that time to invite you back to another event that we're holding.
And Herb likes any chance that I don't have to talk to the residents as much to let you guys talk.
The residents would have all left if they had to wait for strollers.
What was the sentiment on the attendance? I mean,
It had to be.
people were there to make it worthwhile. I mean, it seemed like several hundred maybe showed up.
Yeah, I think we were estimating around 400, Herb.
Yeah, what we did is we did an average of about 2.5 people to a car. After looking at when they were getting out, some had 4, some had 3, some had 1. We were right around the 450 to 475 mark.
And that's pretty comparable to what that has been.
Okay.
We weren't sure if it would be more because it was the combination of events, but something that time of year, weather is always dicey. Like, I don't even know if you remember in the beginning, it was like kind of a little off. And, yeah.
It did rain for like a hot minute.
Yeah. It was just like a nice little like misting.
It was good.
So definitely, I mean, I think we're on agreement. It's a good way for us to get a message out to the community. It's I think all felt like it was worth being there and spending our time. So definitely something we want to do again.
Great.
I think though, in relation to future events, I'd like to see us, if we participate in an event, have a message, not just we're the EAC, we're here kind of thing. I think, we had a specific purpose in being at this event around the open space referendum. So if we're gonna do the tree lighting ceremony in early December, I'd like to see our participation be centered around some communication to the community rather than just they were the EAC, come talk to us kind of thing. So if we decide we want to do that, I think we should have some conversation around what that message should be.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing. It was nice this one, we had the referendum as sort of our main focus, but we should have some standard like messaging if we're going to do more of these.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, there's a lot of trash created around the holidays. Maybe there's something we could communicate around, proper methods of disposing of things, something. I mean, to just,
I agree because I'm still seeing my neighbors. How many times does it come out in newsletters? The Christmas tree goes up by the curb and there is tinsel on them. All of this stuff that they always say, please remove it. The township is big with that. Please remove it. There's the tree laying out, tinsel one. And I don't think maybe that, I like your message because Christmas generates a lot of waste and the whole tree thing, why, Kurt could probably tell us right now why tinsel and that kind of stuff is such a problem if they're going to grind those trees up. And we hear it all the time. So I think it's a holiday message, something like that.
Yeah, or maybe it's around packaging, what's recyclable, what isn't, something, just something like that. That
That's very cool.
We can have a reason for being there.
And it can also be like snow removal or something like that. So many people shovel and blow their snow out in the street. So the township comes by, does a great job cleaning, and then some knucklehead treats that as a way to get rid of all their snow.
Or Chris, relative to our speaker last month, maybe something around salting.
I did have some follow-up on that today. Actually, I met with the person that Paul put us in touch with who was going to get us some educational material. So I had actually a really, really interesting conversation with her. I think I would like to follow up with this group. We have some follow-up internally with staff. I want to kind of see where they land on some follow-up at a state level. They have a couple of there's a House bill on the floor actually that's talking about some PennDOT maintenance changes and things like that. So more to come on that. And I did mention that that would be one thing, and I want to kind of gauge this group's interest on if you guys wanted to do the tree and bridge lighting, how much you wanted to commit to it, what your theme was going to be, and then if there was lack of support, maybe one person would go, we didn't really know if we wanted to partner with the Little Lehigh Watershed Stewards, because they have a lot of stuff as well, and it could be focused a little bit around that, because I think sounded like the consensus last time is there's definitely a need for some of that public citizen engagement, in addition to kind of the internal, maintenance and operations aspect of it. And that might be a good place and time to do it, to start to talk about that, what are the, what's happening, as far as too much salt, and what are some of the health and environmental problems with that. And then here are some things that you can do at home, kind of similar to, I think, what Mark is talking about, like these are good tips and so forth like that. So if that's of interest, I can definitely follow up sooner than later, but I think we can still communicate with the watershed stewards on their efforts, regardless of being at the event.
Honestly, this is just me, but my preference would be, if we're gonna have a table there, just be the EAC.
Yeah.
I mean, then if we bring in somebody from another group, and then I think that just kind of muddies the water in terms of, kind of identifying ourselves as a, community resource. So I think if we had some educational material to give out related to that, that'd be fine, but I think having a representative from another organization there would be a little confusing. That's just my opinion, but I don't know what others think.
Were they planning on having their own table or?
No, to clarify, it was like, I think, and Herb will talk about, like, I think there's a space for you guys, but I cautioned it's, the holidays. I didn't want to commit you guys to anything without knowing who could all be there. I think last time was great. We had everybody there, but I didn't want to leave anyone of like, it's one solo person. So if it was like, we'd love to do more tabling events, this isn't the right time. It's not enough time to plan. I wanted to have that as a backup to say, like, if there was still an opening and we want to have a theme like that, if the watershed stewards were ready to go with the tabling event, and then maybe if one person was interested in kind of participating with that, to kind of see what they're doing as far as the salt snapshot and everything. But no, I fully agree. I think if you guys want to do it, if you can commit to doing it, I'd love to see more, just exactly what you did last time.
Well, what do we think? I mean, it's a couple hours, December 6th. We're gonna bundle up.
What day?
Herb, do you want to give like a quick overview of the event and kind of, I've never gone, and I know you have a good plan for it.
Yeah, the event runs from 5:30 to 7:30 the first Saturday of December, which is December 6th this year. What I was thinking for you guys was, and these are all great topics, I love them all. So if you all wanted to attend, I have no problem adding extra tables. If two people wanted to do like stormwater and the salt, and then 2 or 3 wanted to do about the garbage and how to recycle it the correct way, I think that would be great. The more information we can get out there. The other reason why we would love you to help us with stormwater is all our guys that do the stormwater that we want to have the tent there, we're all going to be working the event already. Mike Elias is actually playing Santa Claus that night. So he can't be at the table. I'll be running around, so I won't be available to be at the table neither. So what we did is we tried to make it fun a little bit. So the stormwater aspect of teaching everyone about the salt and when the snow melts, how it goes down the drain, to incorporate a cool little idea for the kids to play so they could hear it then is they would actually, we bought 3-inch, they're like cotton balls, but they're little balls. And we're going to make a fake snowball fighting area with those little balls. And then at the end, so they would come out and hear how it affects the rivers and the streams and everything, all the salt, while you could be reviewing that with them. We actually bought then a 2-inch one and then a snowman head. So they would get to make a snowman while they heard the whole presentation also.
So
That's awesome.
do you have a canned presentation, Herb? Because I'd say, like, I don't know if anyone here has, presented on our stormwater aspect of it. I know that, Mike usually does a good job with that. And
Yep, and
is that what you're sort of looking at? Like, could someone take that aspect on?
Yeah, we can put the whole thing together, have the boards for display, already made up. And then basically you would just explain it to all the kids and residents about why it's important for the stormwater to keep it out of the streams and everything like that. We would supply everything to you guys, the handouts. We have coloring books and crayons that kids could take that explain what stormwater is. We have pens, lanyards. We would give all that to you. You basically would just show up, explain to the residents what stormwater is in that, and we'll have your table completely set up. You don't have to break anything down at the end. We will break it all down also.
How can we say no?
Yeah, I think we can do that if people are available. Yeah.
I'd
Use
love
too
to.
much salt and you get put on the naughty list.
There you go.
There you go.
Those poor parents, I can just picture the kids yelling at the dad who's like trying to sprinkle salt in the driveway. Santa's not gonna come.
So it sounds like you guys are in, and it sounds like you're good with that being like the stormwater, doing the stormwater presentation, having all the materials already prepared.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Is it
we'll,
possible we could have another table though, just for the EAC or?
I think so, yeah. I think that's what Herb's saying, like whatever you want, like because they're not gonna have the typical like public works stormwater
We
table.
probably need 2 people for that,
Yeah.
for 2 hours. And then if we had enough participation, we could have another couple people at an EAC table for a couple hours.
And I'll make it one thing better because it does get cold down there that time of year by the creek. So I will make sure there is a fire pit centrally located by you guys. So you can stay nice and warm.
That's great. I mean to say no.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I'll bring
Herb.
marshmallows.
I mean, can we do the stormwater as the EAC? I mean, I feel like that's appropriate. It's education.
Yeah.
I think there should be 2 things, if we have enough people. If we could get, yeah, if you know, stormwater and, you know, it could be trash or.
Yeah, I think like a poster,
So,
like,
yeah,
what's recyclable at Christmas?
Yeah, or.
Like, I still don't know about wrapping paper.
And again,
I think it's
just to chime in quick, if you don't have enough people for 2 tables, we're not going to be upset if you say you'd rather do the explanation about the importance of the recycling, the trash, and the proper way to do it. You guys can decide what topic with how many people you have. If we have both, it's great. But if we don't and we only have one, we're not upset because we're going to be able to, throughout all of next year, be able to get all our credits that we need for the MS4 permit. We actually already satisfied that this year with how many events we attended and everything. So I don't want anyone to feel like they're pressured in having to attend this. If you feel you would rather go the trash and recycling route, I'm fine with that also.
I think given Herb that you've got a whole presentation already prepared, I think we should definitely support that.
I also like, I know I've been talking to Mike Elias about that. I think like that came up early on in the EAC of like stormwater being such an important thing. And we've talked about like, we have this whole stormwater program and this whole department, but it's like, I would love to see you guys get more involved in that if that's an area of interest for you. And
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure,
we had a subcommittee in the Green Advisory Council.
Yeah.
Specifically on stormwater.
yeah, so if it
Still have
can,
the signs up by the creeks.
yeah. And so I think that's like, yeah, as much as you guys want to kind of take that a direction to what our stormwater outreach is, like Herb's team, they have, you know, required things they have to do, but I think like this becomes another outlet then for that.
Stormwater, I mean, I
engagement.
think we do something around solid waste related to the holiday. I mean, that's starting to expand our scope beyond just what we've been talking about
Yes.
for the last year plus, right? I mean, which is something I think we're all interested in doing as a committee.
So material wise, Herb, you have everything. You can have 2 tents, make sure they have the warmest fire pit and all the stormwater stuff. I think I still have the poster of like the EAC thing that you guys can have. I can't make it that night, so I'll make sure to get you guys, whoever's taking it down, and I can coordinate with Herb and Land and Public Works. What else do you think? Like, do you think you need anything specific?
So I would say whatever's published on the township website around Christmas tree disposal, we can have a copy of that as a handout.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd
That's what
also,
we have some
I'd
sort
also
of
like
flyer.
to, I'd also like to talk to somebody at Mascaro, and we can ask them some specific questions around
Yeah.
what's recyclable, what isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marie, you sent me someone in the community, almost like the community liaison from that, but Herb, I'm sure we can get I know that you have specific contacts, so we
Yeah.
can ask some questions, and I think we were talking about doing that anyway.
Yeah, I'll reach out to their operations manager, get any handouts that we have that they have already made up, all the information they have. I can get that to Chris. He can forward that out to you guys so you can take a look at it. And then whatever we think we need, if we got to tweak them, if it's two different ones and we want to put so much of from one and another one, we can put that together and get that printed out right at the township building. So I can definitely get that information. That I'm not worried about.
Herb, is there somebody there we can have a conversation with? I mean, I think
There's-
that would be very helpful.
Yes, I can try to set up a meeting. Chris, what I'll do then tomorrow is I'll reach out to Mascaro's operations manager, get you a couple days and times that work from him, and then you can forward it out to the EAC members that want to attend that meeting, and maybe we could get it all lined up.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Because I wonder too if that would be something that we'd want to do in November to see, and that might not be the operations person, but it might be that community engagement person who I'm sure is used to doing like night meetings.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if we can have some like a pre-conversation, if anyone's available, we can kind of talk to the operations person and get some questions.
Yeah, I think it's just, even if it's just a phone conversation.
Okay.
I think we'll have, I'd like to ask some specific questions around, waste disposal related to holiday type items, packaging, trees, whatever. And I think we can put a holiday themed set of instructions together that we could hand out at the event. And it's probably, probably needs like 20 minutes of this person's time, and then that'd be enough.
Would it work if he's available for Teams meetings and that also, or would you rather an in-person meeting?
Me personally, Herb, is after seeing the tour that we did last week, I don't trust their PR. I would like to see the operation. I have tremendous doubts. And I think they're selling a bill of goods. And I don't trust it. I want to see the operations.
I think that,
Well-
just to be honest, Mark, I think that's going to be hard to do in the timeframe we have. I mean, I think that's something we should have on our agenda
Yeah, we
to
should.
do.
For like the
But
spring.
Maybe
Okay,
separate
no
that from
problem.
the holiday
Yeah.
thing. if
Yeah,
not
but I
hard.
just feel bad saying like, oh, you put this plastic here, that plastic here, this and the other. When actually, I think in the end, it all gets thrown in regular trash. And I don't have much confidence that, and so it really surprised me what I saw and learned last week.
Can I ask where the tour was?
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about it
Okay.
next. I think you'll be very interested.
So-
That's fine. Sorry, no.
Does that work for like if Herb can help set up maybe like a 20-minute phone call with the operations
Yeah, the
person?
team's meeting or whatever, yeah.
And like if you can be on that
Yeah,
with me
yeah.
and we can kind of ask some questions and then we can kind of follow up and then still like and maybe even on that talk about the interest in going to see the facility. I know that's been brought up before, and maybe look at doing something like that
Sure.
at another time.
Just to add, for that phone call, it would just, the only question I would have is, to who would make that flyer, if they would put that together. I mean, I'm assuming they would put that together because it's coming, it's representing them, but
We'll see. I mean, I'm happy to draft something based on the conversation if they don't have anything ready to hand out. We can, I'm just looking at like a bullet list of this is recyclable, this isn't. I mean, we're not, we don't have to write an encyclopedia.
Pictures help.
Yeah.
Like the one they do normally, but if we could do like a Christmas specific one.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me would
stand out.
Yeah.
So
And it would
they may
answer
have
lots of
something like
questions.
that already, but if they don't, then,
Well,
Yeah,
they
even
should,
better
I mean,
if they
that's-
do. That would be
Yeah.
a short meeting.
yeah. But I think that gives us a reason for being at the event, right?
Yeah. I think that would,
Our mission and.
I mean, I don't know if we're, like, if Chris, if you're keeping like the files that Sarah made for the other
I have
ones, so
all
that,
of it, yeah.
you know, next year, we're like, hey, we'll show up, everything's already made.
Yeah, started a little folder with all of your EAC materials and correspondence and everything.
I
You
feel like
guys
we made
are-
it now,
I
you know?
know, just need our own closet.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll discuss this again in November, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when I'll know better whether I'm gonna even be in the area.
I think what Herb needs is it sounds like you guys have the commitment. It sounds like the idea for 2 tables and you're willing to do the stormwater piece and you're willing to do like an EAC holiday theme recycling piece.
And if we're short on people, we'll prioritize the stormwater one.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'll be there. I'll have to see.
Just off the cuff though, like I'm definitely available and I can come. My kids love that. And so I'm definitely happy to be there. And if we're presenting to kids, nothing makes me happier. So I'm definitely in on that. So I'll bring hot chocolate for us.
All right.
Yeah. Where is that? Where did you put that page, Chris? Is that on the?
This page, I made this page. This is on the website.
Okay.
This is, yeah, so if
You show
you're,
the date.
yeah,
The year is not right.
no, the year is not right. I still, yeah.
I'm looking at that
Um,
today and I'm thinking, oh, this is a past flyer.
He's
And then I
listening.
went down and I'm like, no, it's
I
not.
don't know, it'll probably pop up the holiday event, but I went to it from the Park and Rec, events. I think it's somewhere. I'm sure there'll be something
Oh, that's cute.
on the slider as we get closer.
Very nice. There it says 2025, that's good.
Oh, yeah, Lynn must have changed it.
Well, the one we just saw in 2024.
Yeah, I just copied and pasted it
Okay.
from here to the, because I wanted it in your packet before for last week.
Okay, very good.
Thanks for thinking of us, Herb.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone wanting to participate and get the word out to the residents and even the young kids, so it helps them as they get older to teach their kids and this importance of the streams and everything. I really appreciate it and say thank you for wanting to participate in our events.
You are welcome.
Thanks, Herb.
Although now I
Thank you.
keep the image of Mike
Myers as Santa.
Santa Claus out of my head. So that's-
Oh, you know,
I don't think I'm
it'll be all
gonna, I don't
over.
think I'm gonna sleep well tonight. All right, next item on agenda, item 3, as you alluded to, Marie, was our tour last week. Mark, myself, Marie, all attended a tour of Revolution Recovery in downtown. I guess that's South Downtown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a facility where they specifically recycle construction waste. So
Construction and demolition.
So just open it up to those of us who attended and what were your thoughts?
Can
I
I
thought,
give a little bit of back history, especially because of Sean being here? I'm sorry, Mark.
go ahead.
Revolution Recovery has been around for, what they say, 20 years. I think that was the number they said. They started in Philadelphia with construction and demolition waste. And the guys that started it, one of the guys actually worked in construction. And that's where he got the idea, because he kept seeing all this good stuff being thrown out. And he's like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So whatever it took for these 2 guys to get together, they formed Revolution Recovery. They started in Philly. They have another site in Delaware,
Yes.
and we are their 3rd site. And they were excited to get up here. And it took a while to find the right location, because when you're dealing with that much waste, you need space and you need to think about who the neighbors are, who's around us, and will they tolerate trucks coming in and out and this kind of thing. But I'm sure you're aware. So, yeah, from what you did. So it's great to have them here. This was done by Green Building United, who was the group that I belong to. We had reached out to the Lehigh Valley Home Builders Association. We really wanted participation from them. They say they want to do things with us, but then we don't hear anything. And I don't know if anyone came from that group, but that's a group we really wanted to see be there. The tour was great. It's like Mark said, and you know, you can certainly tell, we learned a lot, but what we really learned a lot, the tour was unbelievable of how they separate all of this stuff, what they can do with it, the stuff they can't do anything with. Frank and Mark can talk about that too, but the happy hour afterwards was really the informative one because Jamie Wybar sat at our table with us for a while and he answered our questions that we had. He was very informative about the business. So
Is he a representative of the
Revolution Recovery? He works for his brother, John Wybar started it. John Wybar and Avi Golan. Avi no longer is with the group. He's moved on. So Jamie is John's brother.
Okay.
Okay. And so they were both there. They paid for food and drinks for us all. I mean, it was really a great event. But afterwards is where we learned a lot. Wow.
And as Marie was saying, what they're trying to do, instead of everything in construction going to landfill, at least get some of it back recyclable or reusable, as opposed to 100% landfill. And there's only a couple of, they're like the only ones in the country that does this. And it's kind of like a revolutionary thought process. But what was amazing is the rats were bigger than the cats. And they were the biggest rats I've ever seen.
You saw rats?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Where did they take you guys?
And they were, I saw a cat. That's a cute little cat. And then I saw the rats. And I was
We
like,
never saw the rats in our group. I said, you're
yeah, you're lucky.
Oh my God.
Sarah's upset she didn't go.
I'm so bad. I was bummed from the beginning. Oh my God. I heard there was a happy hour. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Well, we were divided into 4 groups.
Yeah.
So each of us had a different tour guide.
We were called the rat group.
There you go.
I
Oh my God.
You didn't see the cat?
No,
You
we
didn't
didn't,
see
I
it?
don't think we went down as far as you guys.
Okay, yeah.
Because the machinery was moving.
Okay.
There was.
Yeah, the
big
machinery, we caught
there.
the end of the machinery. All the guys were done with the construction.
Yeah.
And everything came out, the cats. The
Oh
rats.
my God.
I really wanted to see this.
It's really something.
So a couple things struck me, right? One is that it was very manual. I mean, I've been in recycling facilities before, municipal recycling facilities, and there's a lot of automation,
Mhm.
optical readers to sort things and that sort of thing. None of that. This is all, they handpick from the piles to sort the trash. So it was very manual operation. They only recycle 30%, they said, of what they bring in.
And they were proud of that.
And that seemed like it was, significant, right? I mean, so it was mainly wood, right? Metals, they had a big pile of metals.
Cardboard this big.
Cardboard was big, and then concrete, I was surprised.
It's a rubble.
They do recycle concrete. They grind it up and they're able to use it for road beds.
What prevents the majority of it of not being recycled? Just the type of material that it is, or the processing is, too difficult, it's not there yet?
It was because the revenue that it generates, it would cost more for them to have it taken somewhere than it would be they would lose money. They're trying not to lose money. They really, from my understanding, their money they earn is the difference between what is not sent to the trash. So if they can prevent 30% from going to the trash, the haulers benefit because they don't pay as much. Yeah.
So they pay a tipping fee to Revolution Recovery, but then Revolution Recovery has to pay a tipping fee for whatever they landfill.
Yeah.
So if they're able to, as Mark said, landfill less than what they take in, then there's a delta there that generates their profit. And they are able to sell some of the stuff, but it didn't sound like that was major revenue. It was mainly this tipping fee difference.
So So another group went through, I think they had John was their tour guide.
Okay.
And what we didn't know, and I didn't know this, is all of the stuff they get from stores that cannot, or don't, I don't know what, they don't want to donate it. I have no clue. I heard this from someone who was in that tour. Tons of stuff from Walmart. Not the nail one, but and other
Like
stores.
discarded retail
Discarded,
like,
and they're like.
products?
Yes.
Like leaf blowers and
oh,
all kinds of stuff.
wow.
Brand new,
appliances and,
brand
Brand
new.
new.
Wow.
Brand new.
because the box is damaged or something like that.
And they don't necessarily have a way to deal with that. So,
Well, you let their workers take whatever they
oh,
want.
well, that's a good, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good thing.
I was gonna
Up to a
say,
point, they don't let them take like
I made a
hundreds and
mis-
resell them, but.
Because I took 2 garbage cans, remember? I missed the snow blower. I was like, yeah, I think they
Did you
were.
really take garbage?
Yes,
cans?
I did. 2 trash cans. Yeah, they were like just sitting there. I go, can't take one of these. Hey, take as many as you want. I missed the snow. Why did you tell me that?
If you saw these piles
Yeah.
of stuff,
Oh, just random
you'd be
construction.
impressed that
Yeah.
30% of it actually
Yeah.
did get recycled.
It's
mean,
I-
it was just
I
random
guess,
crap
yeah.
From construction sites.
Yeah.
and-
It's true. Like if you're thinking about like where it's coming from, it's just leftover crap. you
Well, they
know?
said, you put one of those dumpsters out there and the neighbors will throw stuff in.
Yeah.
and-
You gotta be careful. We have signs on ours.
Like
Yeah.
dog poop, it's like, it's not great.
Yeah.
Was there, out of curiosity, was there not an issue with drywall and asbestos in terms of contaminating any of the loads?
They didn't talk about asbestos. I mean,
No.
they did have drywall, but they actually do recover gypsum from the drywall,
way.
so.
And they take it to they use it as a fertilizer. I
Yeah.
don't send it to a company that does that, yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
talked about asbestos though.
No.
But yeah,
It's-
I guess if-
In
if
construction demolition waste out west, is that any drywall is a really big deal because you have to prove it doesn't have asbestos and it
Oh,
can
wow.
shut down recovery sites. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
why I was kind
Oh,
of
wow.
curious.
Interesting.
We're a little behind the times here on the East Coast.
That is
Oh.
California, yeah.
Crazy Canadian.
So all in all, I mean, I felt it was a great tour. I've seen the Philadelphia facility, see this one and see it up and running was great. We certainly learned a lot.
Oh, the other thing was batteries are a big deal.
Yeah.
More and more, like, the risk of them catching fire.
Yes.
just-
Yeah, lithium ion.
Yeah, like just out of nowhere, just, something striking
Yeah,
it.
tool
or-
batteries or something. like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Thrown in a dumpster.
Yeah.
So.
Big concern, and they're afraid, and that if it's bad enough, they try to keep things as much little product as possible for the fire, because like the risk is very high or frequent, and they're afraid if it gets real bad one time, the city may come in and say no more, just because.
That would be my concern, is you have all this material that usually is not intended to be put together, it gets discarded together, and now you're storing it, and fire or asbestos, or even just like, so what's their
They
like
made a point of, they don't let
turnover?
the piles get too big. I mean, so they don't want to have too much fuel in one place at one time.
Yeah.
so.
And they do have a sprinkler system. At least
Okay.
that's what our guys told us,
Yeah.
they pointed it out to us.
Yeah.
They do have a sprinkler system.
That's pretty common in those kind of facilities.
Really?
It's a mist
Okay,
to just keep dust down for the.
Oh,
weather.
that's
right.
good. Oh, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very
Oh
dusty.
my gosh.
Don't forget the lead paint.
Yeah,
I mean,
So-
some of these facilities, I mean, it's like, it's, I don't know, it's like something out of a horror movie. They're dark, the mist is coming down. It's
Oh,
not a pleasant environment, so.
Interesting.
Good Halloween tour.
Yeah.
So the biggest incentive is that it's the tipping fee, then that, or what's the incentive, I guess, for someone to take it there? Like, is there
He
anything?
said shorter distances for the haulers, right? So they can get in and out quicker than if they go to landfill.
They're very proficient at getting the.
Like I said, a lot of times they
Yeah.
go to landfill, they have to wait for hours to
Yeah.
offload, and so it's, so it's less time for the trucks. I got the sense that they may charge less than what it would cost to take it to the landfill. So
Okay.
they may give them a break there to incentivize it, so.
I'm wondering if there's anything we can do as a municipality to encourage more use of
So
it,
what,
something
I
like
mean,
that.
As,
Does it have like residential use or is it just commercial?
It's my dumpster's going.
yeah, if you're doing a construction project. Oh, yeah.
After our roof project, mine's they're coming to pick it up.
Is it something we could work into our environmental reviews of new developments? I mean, we can't, we
Potentially.
can't
Yeah.
mandate it, I would guess. but
Yeah.
Is it something we could, have as a suggestion or something the EAC would initiate a conversation about, can you do this or,
I'll ask about it because it's usually the problem from like the land development end gets the approval and then they go, and it's more like the building permit end of it, which is usually a little different.
Yeah.
And that's where kind of there could be a land development that's approved that they never pull building permits for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'd rather look more into the like the permit end of it.
Mhm.
And that's just, I don't know at what like stage we could do that, and if it could be even a condition at that end, if it became like a policy. But I don't know, there's, certain levels of what's
yeah, but even if we can't
uniform
mandate it,
construction
it's
code,
something we
meet
could-
that, I don't know, it didn't say what,
If we couldn't mandate it,
Yeah.
it'd be something we could recommend.
Yeah, are they doing anything?
But to add to it, one more thing, to add to what you said, what really was interesting is, like Frank said about, it's a little less expensive for the haulers. And they're very proficient and they just get it out of the the dumpster. It's just dumped and they move on. And the big thing that they talked about is that trucker drivers do not have to get out of their vehicle. Because he said a lot of the truck drivers are overweight, they're old. And that is a big deal for them. So instead of waiting, like you said, an hour for the landfill to fill up and having to get out of your truck and do stuff, they pull right in, pulls it out of the truck, and then they move on. So I couldn't imagine a builder not using them in our area because we're so close to them. Do you know what I mean? It would almost seem like, because people are driving like an hour away, as you said, Frank, just because of a little less expensive and the convenience of not having to get out of their truck. Because they can do 10 loads as opposed to 6 loads in a day or 5 loads a day. So even if it was the same cost, they're getting a lot more productivity in their driving time.
What do you say? It's 200 trucks a day.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And more
It's
on
that
busy
big of a
times.
facility
Oh,
to,
the thing is huge.
It's an old Mac warehouse,
Oh, it's
an
huge.
old Mac manufacturing facility.
okay.
I mean, it's fallen down. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
they
Wait,
did not
is this in
spend it.
South Allentown? or-
Yeah.
Oh, I know the facility, okay. You don't need to worry about asbestos coming in, you need to worry about asbestos that's already
Oh
there.
my gosh.
Yeah, the broken windows maybe you could.
I'd say about half the windows were still intact.
It's something.
That's amazing. So maybe,
I'm sorry, go ahead, go. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, maybe it sounds like even just outreach can benefit them, right? Like if it's something, like it seems like there's no other incentive to go to the landfill for someone that's close by. It sounds like it's
Right.
cheaper, more convenient, and there's, obviously the environmental benefit to it, but
And I don't know how many builders actually know about it.
yeah.
That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even, if it's somebody doing a home renovation.
Yeah.
I mean, if
That's
we
what I
could
did.
make them aware that this exists and, as an option, even if we can't require them to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just sharing information.
Right. I mean, perhaps with new builders or developments that come in, maybe Revolution Recovery would maybe do an incentive with them to say, because we can't force them maybe to do it, but say something like, well, if you sign with us, your first load is at a discounted rate or something like that. And that would, and in addition to all the positives that we're saying, might be just like that would be the finals, yes.
For every load, you get a free rat.
That is a real.
Do they do outreach in communities? Like, I mean, that could be something, I know you wanted to have like the, restore, at the last event, like,
And they were there.
yeah, like to do something with that, like.
She had her own little table. She didn't have a tent. So they were in the middle there.
I was
Yeah,
looking for them too.
I know. I
and
wish she had had a bigger sign or that they
Yeah.
were there. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right to promote the restore, but also to promote these guys. Jamie was happy to do this tour because of the way we promote it. Meaning Green Building United, and Paul and I had some input
It was
into.
less on them, to get people to come there. It was promoted through your network already.
And they are big with, I mean, they love it. They will, your idea about an incentive might be a possibility, for sure. Yeah, so, they do just such cool stuff. They have an art program as well. I don't want to linger here too long, but that started in Philadelphia. It's called RARE, and I can't remember what the letters stand for, but there you go. I remember the name, but they remove stuff from the recycling, and they actually have an artist in residence there, and they teach classes, I believe, as well. This is in Philly, so they will have artists, sculptors, whatever. They're making all kinds of stuff out of this recycled material. That's been going on for years.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I wonder if the park and library, because they have, that space for events and stuff, they would, want to partner with them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering does the Allentown facility, do they have any partnerships with any of the colleges or anything like that? Any art programs?
Yeah, see, I don't know. They do RARE in Philly. I don't know if they do it in Delaware, so I don't know if they would be able to do it up here. I don't know that part. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty disgusting. I could not imagine an artist wanting to hang out there for 8 hours and go through trash.
Well, they don't,
No.
the artist doesn't work there.
No.
Yeah.
In Philly, they had their own separate building. They had their own separate building and things.
Sorry,
Yeah.
It's like, congratulations, you just won an art scholarship. You got It's only a 3-week program, if you make it out alive.
Who you didn't meet is you didn't meet, and I love her name. It just cracks me up. Her first name is Fern. Okay, you didn't meet Fern. She's lovely. She's been with Revolution Recovery from the beginning, and she's the one who began the art program. So she is the one who has all kinds of information about that, and she's still with them. So.
Well, what was also interesting is that I asked about staffing, and they it seems like from what they told me, they have a very good retention rate. I mean, these kinds of facilities are notorious for like 50% annual turnover.
Oh, wow.
Because if the work is dirty, it's hard, right? So it was what they told me is that they've got a lot of employees been there 10, 15 years, and so they're able to create some loyalty among their staff, which is really impressive for that kind of work.
Yeah, I wondered about that too.
Yeah.
But they want to be there. It's amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
relief mowers.
Yeah, those are big perks.
It was interesting, the guy we talked to, I mean, he really bought into the whole.
Oh, yeah, he was
reason for
all
being there. I mean, he wasn't there just because it was a job.
Right.
He was there because he believed in what they were doing.
See,
That's
this is
incredible.
And yeah, again, where I worked, it was the same thing. We did recycling, we did construction, demolition waste, we did composting, and you believe in the type of work you're doing, and it really makes a big difference.
So.
What do you do with batteries? Where do you take batteries?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
You didn't ask.
I have two batteries at my house
Well,
that are
I
sitting
found
around.
You have to wait for e-waste.
So that's this
Yeah.
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah.
The county one.
Send it out, the county one.
Excellent.
But you have to see if there's an appointment time available.
Yeah, you have to make it.
Or look for a construction site.
And,
Go to the next step.
Make sure there's
and
an hour.
it's typically a charge for disposing of the waste. So,
At the e-site recycling events, the
yeah,
county
I
puts
mean,
on.
don't they
No,
have,
they're not gonna.
not for batteries, right, but for something.
But not, well, that's.
I thought the one the
cleaner.
county put
But
on
the
was
county one,
free.
yeah.
The county was free, okay.
As far as I know, it's
Okay,
free.
all right.
Gee, I signed up. I didn't see anything about money being mentioned there. So I signed up. Yeah, bring some, I didn't see anything. Because I've attended it before and we didn't have to
Okay,
pay.
all right.
Because
But
we're
really-
county residents. You have to prove that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can take my batteries, throw them in Marie's dumpster in the house.
That's
and then I don't need to worry
right.
about
We got
oh,
signs,
yeah,
we got
exactly.
signs.
Yeah.
Put them in the office trash. Come on, get it.
But what happens to batteries? I mean, the true question,
Yeah.
where does it end up? What is the where does it go?
Regular batteries.
Yeah, I mean, what happens to it when, after
Like a Duracell.
a
battery?
Duracell or like a car, whatever battery? What happens to it? Does it just go to landfill eventually?
Those kind of batteries, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, lead acid batteries. and those
You're not
are-
diverting, then,
What?
I said if you're not diverting, then that
Yeah.
must be where they're
See,
going.
Clean Earth, we did the Clean Earth recycling here, and Clean Earth will take those batteries. I
What do they
take
do with them?
It's a darn good question. I
Yeah.
mean, because we take them down there, third Friday of the month or whatever, you take them down to Clean Earth in South Allentown. And, but you can take electronic waste.
I mean, the lithium batteries, there's enough
Yeah, stuff in there.
salvageable material in there that they'll be taken apart and the metals.
Like a
will be
computer
recovered.
and all that?
Yeah. But regular batteries like nickel cadmium or whatever, I mean, those I think just get thrown away.
We have to ask the people at Clean Earth. It's a good question, because they collect them. I don't know. I don't know.
That's where your black spatulas are coming from. Did you read that article?
Yeah, the
What?
computer waste, yeah.
They say if you have any plastic kitchenware at home, just get rid of it, because the black
The black
comes
one.
specifically from recycled computers and electronics. And
Right.
all those are coated with fire retardants and things like that. And so the black, you should just throw away. I mean, I'm assuming maybe the other colors too.
Spatula, spoons.
I use
and-
wood ones and things
Yeah.
like that, but yeah.
I know, everywhere you turn, I hear you. Place we turn.
There's a black spatula on the non-stick surface.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're tough, you're tough one.
Well, I know, I went over to a friend's house once and he was grilling and he had the black mat, the black Teflon mat that he put on his grill. And he wanted to grill our dinner on that. And said, oh, it's great, it doesn't stick. I'm like, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm not eating that. What are you doing?
You inhale so much and ingest so much anyway, it doesn't really make it.
So tough.
We're all part Teflon.
Yeah, we are.
Right, like.
Thank
shouldn't
you,
use
DuPont.
aluminum. You shouldn't use aluminum foil, like we shouldn't cook in it, so you ingest so much aluminum
No.
without even trying.
Well, aluminum foil is usually coated with PFAS as well.
Depending on the foil.
I don't know, I know we can't use it when we sample for it, so
Oh, interesting.
fast food wrappers, it's everywhere.
Fast food wrappers?
Oh, yeah.
I should like show you like, or, well, not mine, but our contractors like protocol for sampling for that. It's like,
Mhm.
it's in everything.
Well, I never eat fast food, so it's fine. I'm kidding, that's it, we left, didn't we? I think I went to Burger King.
Oh, yeah, me too, yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, yeah, I don't want to hold up anymore.
All right, so thanks, Marie, for inviting us to go on. It was
I'm so
very
glad you came.
insightful.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
glad
It
you
was
really
good,
wanted
it was eye-opening.
And I think to Mark, to your point, following up and doing something around municipal waste, a similar kind of tour would be.
Yeah, because when we got to talk to him in depth, we were talking about what is really recyclable. And he said, basically, he says all generally municipalities, they take it, they sell it, the idea, and it all goes to the landfill. They said there's nobody going like, oh, this plastic goes over here, oh, this is foil goes over here. You don't make enough money, it's cheaper just to dump it. And that it almost seems like the only thing that is recyclable that they would do would almost be like metal cans, anything metal.
Or glass.
Or not
Aluminum,
even glass, probably. It could-
Cardboard.
But cardboard's question,
Yeah,
sometimes they
card-
don't even make
He
money.
breaks even. He said
Yeah, yeah.
cardboard, we break even.
Yeah, but that's all wrapped, and that's all wrapped up already. But for them to go through and go, oh, here's a sheet of paper, and that goes with that other sheet of paper, you couldn't afford it, and it's all in the, it's a revenue stream for the trash people. You know, they talk about like we do recyclable, and we do take different plastics, and we take this, and we take that, and people feel good about it, but at the end of the day, they're just getting metal, and that's it, everything else goes.
well, it depends. I mean, things like PET, I think there is,
Yes.
reasonable recycling of things, like.
What's
milk bottles.
PTE?
PET, polyethylene terephthalate, which is milk bottles and things like that. Those will be recycled.
Because we saw that up in Northampton at that recycling facility.
Did
Yeah.
you? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's,
So we did, I was gonna say, prior to you joining, we, as a Green Advisory Council, we did go to a recycling facility. I think that was that Waste Management at that time, I think? I don't think it was mascara.
It was not mascara. It could have been waste
I
management.
think Waste Management had the contract at that time.
It
Probably.
was up in Northampton. It's the one that caught.
In Penargil? Yeah.
No, Northampton. In Northampton.
Oh, in Northampton Borough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where we-
But glass, there
Yeah.
wasn't enough of a market for glass, so they get recycled. But you know, aluminum cans, I think are like 50-60% get recycled.
The metals, I think.
They weren't recycling the glass.
Remember, they took it over to
They
that
took it,
other
they-
building?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know what those people did with it in that other building that was close to where the Northampton recycling was, like across the roadway or
Yeah.
something.
But what I always wonder is how do they get the glass from breaking?
Well, didn't he educate us on that?
What did you say?
Jamie,
I didn't-
Jamie said, and we've heard it, and China, boy, did he have stories about China?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Um,
God.
This commingling, we've heard it, it's a disaster when it comes to good recycling.
That's accurate. Yeah, like commingling, recycling is like your recovery rates are really, really bad.
Yeah,
Whereas if you have an independent recycling facility where you self-sort, so for example, you are putting your paper over here,
Yep.
your cardboard
Yep.
over here, your glass over here. Your
Clear glass,
contamination
colored
rates are
Yep.
a lot less compared
Yes.
to when you do mixed recycling.
yes.
But from a resident standpoint, most people more want to see a curbside recycling program versus that
To
you
come
have to
in.
go drive and.
Well, we used to do it that way in
Right.
South Whitehall. We used to separate. We, when recycling.
Curbside.
Curbside.
Curbside pickup.
And the
separate.
trucks that came, do you remember that, Frank? I don't know if you were here then, but the trucks had separate compartments.
Mhm.
And we put our newspaper out, and then our glass was in a container, metal was, and then they would put it in these separate areas of the truck.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it was toters and commingling, and more people would participate, but then it turned it into a.
so that's a
mess.
trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Co-mingle will make it easier for the homeowner,
So your
But-
participation rate increases.
But then you can't.
but the recovery rate goes way down.
It's contaminated.
I mean, I think plastics or numbers I see are like single-digit percents
Yeah,
that
they're not
actually
very
get
bad.
recycled of plastics.
So your thoughts of it going to the landfill are largely accurate, in my experience,
Mhm.
from the
It's a real
numbers that I
shame.
see.
It's a rush and commingling, boy, people have said it. And when you read about communities that said, no, we're not gonna do commingling, China will take their stuff, at least before this administration. I don't know what's going on
No,
now,
not anymore.
but yeah, but China.
That was the big thing, like
Right,
10 years ago, is China stopped taking.
right, they stopped taking, but the commingling is really, I mean, Jamie told us about that too. He said, man, that was it. And he said, and China knew it. They were putting up with it for years, getting junk. And one day he said they just pulled the plug. And he said it was that instantaneous. It sure seemed like that to us. They're like, no more. We're not taking it. We're done. You can send us all this junk. We're
Yeah,
done.
yeah, and all the papers, a dirty diaper that's been sitting there for several months. And they open the bin, about knock you over.
Yeah. They just-
How do we ever go back to,
I
you
don't
know,
know.
the individuals,
It
be
would have
done,
been. we'd be
especially
better
when
off.
everyone's used to it being like this.
Because I've read in Japan, I mean, like the average home in Japan has like 7 different waste containers in the home. Because they do, they don't commingle, they segregate the waste.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Yeah,
They
the
don't
challenge,
question it, they just do it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a, hard thing to do, it's just they're used to doing it. right?
Well, like the guy said on our tour though, right? I mean, landfill is cheap in the US, right? And so people don't care because it just, I don't have to pay more. If my waste doesn't get recycled and it goes to landfill, it's not costing me anything, so I don't care. Right? Whereas in other countries, landfill faces highly regulated because it's not readily available, and so it forces different behaviors because there's a cost associated with not complying.
Landfill approvals aren't a thing anymore. So I'm from Canada, and landfill approvals no longer get approved. So as they're starting to fill it up, we are sending our waste to the States, but then the costs and transportation costs get quite high. So that becomes then the cost to recycle and to recover more becomes more feasible, and those costs to putting into those higher technologies to do the sorting becomes more economical, and then that's when they get done.
Supposedly, that's what mascara has. And that's what you're interested in, Mark. Mascara spent a lot of money setting up some kind of a huge sorting facility for their recyclables. And a lot of it seemed to be plastic. Now, what they're doing with it, and it's not in our area here, I think it's, where is it?
You
It's
say Birdsboro?
Birdsboro, that's, evidently they set up some new operation. This was years ago, big PR about it, but
But that's not where South Whitehall's recycling is going.
it could.
Oh,
The sorting technologies are getting much more sophisticated, particularly now with AI, that they can do a much better job of taking commingled waste and segregating it into usable waste streams, but it costs money, right? I mean,
That's the thing, is that, so it's like, if you can get the residents to agree to that cost and be passionate about that cost, then you can do it, until it then becomes your waste costs, is they're not gonna approve it.
yeah, that's the problem I see too with going back to like separating it out. I don't even know which haulers would offer that anymore. Like I know I had a hauler years ago in Kutztown that it was the same thing. We had 7, different
Yeah.
glass ones and everything, and the trucks came on the side, and that's what was offered. But I mean, you guys remember when we went through the trash contract this time, it was 60% increases
Mhm.
above the board, all offering the same services.
Don't be
So
surprised.
I can only imagine someone who's either going to offer that high-end sorting on the back end. That's great if they can, they'll probably still include that in the cost, or if it was even separated, I can't imagine what
I mean,
the cost
that's
would
one
be.
thing that would be interesting to look into, is if you look at the flyers that we were handing out, I mean, Mascara claims to recycle
Mhm,
a lot of things that weren't recyclable
mhm.
Yeah,
previously, and I'd really like to know
how well,
how well, what's really happening there.
yeah.
Things like films and, cereal box bags and
And the
things,
film, yes, that's what's,
Right.
bread bags. right?
that's what
Yeah.
this plastic sorting thing is about evidently. This thing that they set up, this new thing, that's all I know. It was,
So you're saying needs going.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's supposedly that's what the.
I mean, we can ask Mascara when we talk to him about
Yeah.
this and like for like, yeah, that's if maybe that's touring the facility that we'd want to tour. I know you had mentioned that before. Like if they let people in to do that, that would be great to see and to know like how do we get from our township this waste to that end, and when are we not there because it's cost prohibitive?
Is there any kind of like specs in our contract with them, like that says they actually recycle the recyclables? Or is like a way to audit?
It's a good question.
Great question.
GPS trackers.
Well-
There's like a news article that's what they did, and then they watch, they put GPS trackers to see where the facility ended
Yeah.
up. So obviously you couldn't tell, but then you could at least tell, be like, okay, well, it's at a landfill, then you can then infer that it's.
Well, and so we did a study.
That's interesting.
We did a study last year on that for the routing. We did a route study. And I mean, we could probably like reverse engineer the route study to see that. I doubt that they have something that is just like numbers to numbers of what goes in and percentages. I think that'd be more of a like getting a feel for it at the facility. But that's interesting because if they're going, that way to the landfill and that way to the recycling facility, yeah.
And it probably varies over time depending on spot pricing, right? I mean, so-
Yeah, because it probably fluctuates, so you're, and who's taking it, so if it would be sent to China, and then China's no longer accepting it.
Because we've
what
got
are
to-
you
Still
doing?
Africa.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
goodness.
But the recyclables have to there has to be a market, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because it costs the hauler money to recycle, to separate out the recyclables. So there has to be an end market for that product, or else they're not going to do it.
Yeah, they gotta be doing something with that. And the film thing was a big deal when they talked about it, when they initially talked about it. That's what they were doing, so, I don't know. But at any rate, to summarize, great tour.
They increase their cynicism to a level off the chart.
That was great.
Yeah.
But I think, Chris, it does point to, this idea that there's a lot around waste disposal that this committee could be looking into.
You want to do a
And-
specialized committee, I'd be more than happy to be on
That'd be great.
that.
That'd be great.
We're- Do you live here?
Yeah, I just moved into,
Welcome.
I'm 5 minutes away from here, so in the South Whitehall Township.
Fantastic.
A little background, I mentioned like the shakeup of their new trash contract. It was very, very tough. People were very upset.
It was one of the things that I heard when I moved in here. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but your curbside pickup of trash, of a trash item, that's kind of a cool perk, so.
We locked into a 5-year contract, which people were upset about, but it actually saved us a lot of
Yes.
money because now we're seeing all the neighboring municipalities seeing the same increases. But that was the problem, is like we had all this, the EAC got active, and it's kind of like we're locked into this. We can't do much now, but we have to be halfway through that contract by now.
No.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Has it been
Yeah.
that long?
I
The
think I'm
other thing, Chris, is
2
that
2 years.
like I'm the second year, I would say.
I would agree with you, Jared, 100%.
Well, half of 5 is 2 something.
Well,
Still.
I guess I'm saying
42%
between
it's not a bad time to start doing research
Right.
about, especially on, I mean, for me, the biggest thing that we talked about, like right after that, was and we looked at it with that route study and like the analysis report, like where we can cut down cost, is the yard waste component. Like, and that's something that we can drastically change our approach to yard waste and not pay for that, just in paying, in a way to reduce that cost. But if there's other ways to consider recycling costs.
and composting would be another thing. we should
No.
do.
Yeah, please.
That would be wonderful.
Is this just a sales call for you?
I'm actually
What are
just
the
passionate
numbers?
about
30
it.
to 40%
Well,
of
I'm so
food
happy
that's
you're here.
purchased in the
Yeah.
US is wasted, goes in the trash, right? So that's a tremendous opportunity to cut down on solid waste that's going to landfill if we had some kind of an organized composting
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, we've been looking into it. I know Herb's had interest. I've been trying to push it for a while. I was mentioning earlier, I just toured a facility 2 weeks ago, in another first-class township, and like tried to get a sense of like how they're doing it. It's like in my community where I live, like we have a compost facility. They've even said that they would probably look at a cost share program for some of their equipment too.
Is that like, it's Manaheim? Is that the one that you're in?
No, Emmaus Borough has their own compost facility. They have their own equipment to turn the piles and everything like that. and
It's costly, so I
it's
would
very
imagine
costly,
that like
yeah.
any sort of cost sharing would make it, they'd be.
I think they
on
would be,
board.
I think they pitched it.
But
But
you're not taking food waste
Are they?
anyways.
no,
No,
it's
you're
all
not taking
yard
that. Yes,
waste.
that's right.
Yeah.
Why is it costly? What am I missing?
Lots of costs associated, but from my experience is that at least from here, it's your ability to sell your product at the end. So where we were is that the soil quality was really, really not great. So it was sand, and we're like the largest sand and gravel mine was where we're from. But here, the soil, if you can grow pumpkins, then, like people, you gotta market your product enough to be able to people to buy it at the end. So when you take it in, there's like the length of time it processed it, depending on your composting facility, you gotta add so much to it. Machinery is just expensive.
Yeah.
Gas is expensive, diesel, maintain all that equipment, like multi-million-dollar machinery, grinding in order to do it. All of that. And then, yeah, the touch point, it takes like, at least at our facility, it would take, if you're being super efficient with it, the turnaround time would be about 6 months. So then the touch points to that, even if you were just doing a green waste with a windrow turner, you got to touch it quite a few times.
Yeah.
Based on different regulations, but.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. I don't know how much they're actually selling it. It's just
A lot of,
Yeah.
what I've seen in a lot of municipalities that we're doing is that they're just trying to break free. But
Yeah.
if you're getting someone who's coming in and doing like a full program, that you're, at least again, where our facility, it was, we partnered with all the government districts, where we took all the compost from the local, and we worked with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee with the regional district. But we're a for-profit company that we sold our product, and that was part of marketing the product. But
Interesting.
the cost itself to do it is just time, money, like it's intensive and.
Yeah, and that's the
Thank
thing,
you
like
for
with
that.
a lot of municipalities, that's why I was interested in this one. I want to see where they're doing it in conjunction with their other public works operations, because I've toured farms and things like that where it's like, obviously they have this great big area for it and they have a whole staff for it, but like this was a township of almost exactly the same size, and they had, I think, 2 people trained on the grinder, and yeah, it was very comfortable to us.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for us, we'd have to kind of like shift around our operation so much of how we're taking yard waste, where we're processing that. But I think the benefit that most municipalities are looking for is just to cut down on that yard waste component and offer a resident incentive. Like,
Yeah.
like I can go fill up a bucket, or I can take a truck and they'll load a truck. Now, again, it's not high quality compost, but
But like, it's something if you're just looking to recover even just from, so the reason I asked Manheim is because JP Mascara actually has a compost facility that accepts food waste in Manheim. And
Oh,
I
really?
tried to inquire about just getting a tour myself because I was curious. But that's why I asked at Manheim, I'm not quite sure if I'm saying it right.
yeah, in Lancaster County, I think.
Yeah, exactly, and they have a facility that accepts food waste, and that was the only local one that I could find.
Okay.
And it was JP Mascara who does
More questions for our call with Mascaro.
Yeah.
that. I didn't get anywhere when I just asked as a resident to like go tour their facility, yeah.
But if we have, you know,
See that.
if we incorporate these questions as part of a discussion around a contract
Mhm.
renewal,
Yeah,
we might have a little more leverage, right?
yeah. Well, I was gonna say that might be a better option to like have food waste go to them, and then if we, I cannot see the township taking on food waste.
No.
No, honestly,
But,
it's like, it's
yeah.
a huge facility from a regulation standpoint.
Yeah.
We're also on First Nations land, so our land requirements were a little bit different.
Okay.
So, and like your location to residents, the facility you were talking about, the Revolution Recovery Center, can you imagine? I mean, if construction waste has, the rats, like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you gotta imagine the type of, environment and smell and machinery noise and all that fun stuff.
That's why they're paranoid, like no food waste. Did
Yeah.
they talk to you about that?
Yeah.
Oh, they don't want any food waste in their dumpsters.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense, right?
But he said, you know, people, you
Yeah,
know,
I know.
contractors are.
I know.
You're eating your lunch, you put your
Lunch,
wrapper
you
in there,
just
and
throw it in
like
there,
your
yeah.
glass of
Yeah.
food or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's a hard thing to teach. I don't know why.
All right, well, let's.
Yeah, I
let's
know.
move on.
We talked about-
As you know, the trash contract started January 1st, 2024, so there's,
2024. Okay.
so we'll have almost 3 years left, or a little over 3 years.
Okay.
Okay,
I was wrong.
We're actually pretty close, and we're 7 months away from being halfway done, so
Okay, okay,
I don't think that's that far.
okay, thanks, Chair.
But I was right too, in the sense that it is the second year.
Yes, so we're both right. I like that.
So Chris, we should probably look to, you know, probably have like another 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So do you want to jump into agenda item 4?
Do you want to skip 4? There's no real pressure for 4. All I wanted to do was start to. I did not think we would talk about trash for an hour. So.
I had a lot of questions.
Yeah, you hit us in a weak point. You got a weak point.
All I wanted to say is I'm working on ordinance updates. We've talked before. I want to try to get some specific items in the subdivision land development ordinance that allows for EAC review of land development plans. We adopted the PERT ordinance the other week that has specific call outs for the EAC to look at land development plans under that. So I wanted to kind of get you guys starting to, you know, Derek let him dust off his plan reading glasses there. So I wanted to start to like just slowly get you guys comfortable with reading plans, what we look at from land development review, that timeline, that process. So we definitely don't need to spend any time on that tonight. It was just something to fill the agenda, but I think, you know, it's a good thing for us to start to think about, and as much training.
Ultimately, we should probably have a checklist, right? that The EAC would.
Yes, yeah.
These are the things that the EAC would look at with a proposed land development. So.
Yeah, I talked to Bushkill about theirs, and so I can maybe bring that. And I'm trying to kind of use that and put it into the ordinance. So the next probably update will be as part of the Jordan Valley zoning overlay. We'll be updating sections of Saldo to make that work, and I'll be updating at least the open space component of that. I think the other piece is, a couple months ago, we looked at some of those, resource protection ordinance guides, and wherever we land on that, like if it's not gonna be open space related, but things like woodlands and so forth like that, however we incorporate those into the code, we wanna make sure that that has some sort of like EAC review.
Oh, go ahead, Terry.
Is there anything like, I guess we could start, like, what are we comparing it to? Like, for example, with the checklist, like, I can review and be like, I don't like this, but clearly that's not, like,
Yeah.
and that's very important, because like,
So I was gonna run through a little bit like the presentation, but I want to save it for next time. A big piece of like my advice to you that we found successful with the other like board reviews is considering your review of it under the environmental topics, whichever we kind of determine those are, and your comments to be something that can help with a recommendation for whether there's a specific item in the code that would give direction to whether someone asked to like waive that requirement. So if there's a requirement for, let's just say you have to use native species in landscaping, and then someone says, oh, I want to waive that requirement of the code. So to have your review of that say, we don't recommend that waiver for this reason, blah, blah, blah. Or if there's something that can be easily applied to when the planning commission reviews it, they can help formulate that into like a condition of the land development approval. Similar to like if we could somehow ask them to say, yeah, your construction waste, a condition of your approval of land development is that all construction waste has to go to revolutionary recovery. I don't know if that would stick, but that's a good example of something like that.
so I guess there's like nothing like already existing. Well,
No,
or
nothing.
Everything already.
Yeah,
existing.
nothing that's like, that's clear. So, I mean, you could say something like, hey, we don't like the, we don't like the approach to stormwater management that you put in for this. But that doesn't mean anything to the, they can say, well, that's fine. We don't care if you like our approach. We've met the code, we've met the township stormwater ordinance. It's been reviewed for that, our engineer reviews that, Lehigh Valley Planning Commission even reviews it for the Act 167 communities. So it's just getting down to the pieces of the code I think are the most helpful. I put comments in my review letters all the time that they basically say politely, like, go pound sand. Thanks for the comment.
Comment noted.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
This is helpful.
Is it?
I figured it out.
That's Greg's.
Oh, this
flow
is
chart.
Greg's?
Yeah,
I wonder
yeah.
who put
So
this together.
Dave yelled at me because that whole presentation, that's on our website. It's an old one. I guess he has a new one.
Okay.
So, but I said it works because really the big piece of that is just, I think the important thing is for you guys understanding the timing, when we review, and how comments are provided. So we could always kind of follow up more because I had some examples in the of like memos and things like that I provide to other. I think I have 2 memos here. Well, I made them for the EAC, but like similar to projects we looked at with parks and recreation. I have memos of like what we look at for Shade Tree Commission and their comments on that. So
And that's what you're saying is in here.
in the packet, yeah.
Can I hit you with a question?
Mhm.
Is you're talking about, we were talking about Jordan Creek and things like that. I know that Allentown's getting rid of the encampments, or trying to discourage them. And what happens when they come to our township, when they migrate?
That's a loaded question.
Okay, I didn't know.
Well, so I think the biggest difference is like there's, as far as public property, there's a lot of city public property that it has been I don't want to say neglected, but unmanaged.
And not developed.
Not developed. Well, and a lot of them even too, like parks or areas that like, there's a lot of land that they're not doing anything with, and there's not a presence there. And that's where this stuff pops up. We really don't have that in South Whitehall. I mean, as far as public property, things that would be specifically our responsibility, because a lot of these are on city property. We don't have any like vacant land or anything.
Even
like
along
that.
like the creeks and things like that.
I mean, Cover Bridge Park is pretty, pretty busy. It's actually the opposite. We had to, go through a lot in the last summer because of overuse. If it's not on public property, there's probably, that's a question for the police, how they would handle it.
Right.
But it's not anywhere near the level of what you're seeing in the cities. Because a lot of that is, if it's private property, it's enforceable by private property.
Sure.
If it's public property, it's kind of a gray area. So
The other thing I learned, my neighbor pointed this out to me, and I had no idea, that land that would be behind the Whitehall Walmart. And I think they're gonna be putting a warehouse in there. So there's this all
oh, I know, yeah,
vacant behind the Walmart.
Yeah.
And my neighbor pointed out to me, he said, yeah, there's a whole camp in there.
Mhm.
He said, they're gonna have to clear them out. But the one thing my husband pointed out to me, which was very interesting, because I keep seeing this woman pushing her shopping cart around with all of her stuff. He sees her at the Wawa, I see her at the Giant, and the Giant's right down from the Walmart. So if they have money or if they need things, there's access there. Where here, in our township, I thought
Yeah.
about that, where, you know what I mean? Where are you gonna camp and have easy access to some of this stuff that apparently they want access to?
I think
So
it's
I
a very
wonder about
low
that.
risk for
Yeah.
South Whitehall
Okay, just
Township on that. It's a delicate situation. I worked on a lot of projects in the city, on a lot of the ones that are clear now, we were doing like park plans for. And it wasn't until, we were doing those park plans that anyone fully understood how big of an issue or how populated it was. It's interesting, when I was in Harrisburg the other week, there was a similar situation, large city property down by the river, and pretty large homeless encampment there. And there was a group, it was a nonprofit, and I don't know if they owned the land or if they worked with maybe a state organization, or I don't know how the person was telling me about it, didn't have all the details, but I wanted to follow up. But they eventually had like an underutilized parking lot, and they set up an area there, because they were, same thing, that the area that they were looking at, they had a new project going in. It might have been part of the railroad or something like that. Moved everybody out to a location, and then they set up shop as far as facilities and medical and treatment and mental health treatment and so forth like that. I don't know how successful it's been yet, but it was interesting. So the land development review, we'll kind of, dip our toes into that a little bit. But I think just formulating how we review that, just having you guys start to get comfortable with reading plans and everything. I think the biggest piece is going to be, the easiest piece is going to be open space review. So if you remember when we classified the new types of open space, we have like recreation open space, natural open space, agricultural open space. So it will be my goal that once we get that into the system, I would take the recreational ends, like if someone's proposing a land development that they have open space in it, Park and Rec Board reviews all of that and they make comments on that. I would take the recreational open space to them, and I would take the other ones to you guys to comment on the specifics of that open space. So that would be probably the easiest for us to start to look at.
All right, the open space referendum.
Yes. Just a reminder, November 4th, I don't need to tell you guys, I've been taking it to every board and public meeting that I go to. One of the things that I wanted to just kind of put into the memo on, I think I have a memo starting at page 21. I put in a little bit of background. Frank and I were kind of talking about like how this all came about, and just as part of the, we're all talking to community members, and just to have a little bit more support for, the reasoning behind this, obviously the reasoning behind open space preservation, we've talked about ad nauseum now from the comprehensive plan, the open space plan. But I provided a little bit more detail in there for everyone's benefit as to the specifically the EIT increase and why that was selected as an option for us to pursue that we felt was most appropriate for South Whitehall. Last year, we worked with the Trust for Public Land, who's a national organization that works on open space campaigns all over the country. And we did a feasibility study to look at what municipal funding programs we had available to us. And we studied 5 different funding sources, essentially discretionary annual spending, which is just taking money out of the general fund and setting that aside. That doesn't really have that can easily go year to year, depending on the priority. And then we looked at 2 forms of debt financing, both like voter approved and non-voter approved, the EIT, and then also property tax increase. So the things I wanted to point out with the property tax increase, we quickly kind of moved away from that one because in our minds it was disproportionately affecting the large landowners. So we're looking at trying to preserve some of these farms, and if you have a farmer who has a large property, and we talk about property tax increase, that's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to do here. Also, the property taxes coming off of the, as we mentioned a lot tonight, the trash increase. The biggest effect on that we noticed, and we made some adjustments to that, was how that affected our senior population. And we felt like the property tax increase could very much negatively affect the senior population as well. So the EIT, we felt like a lot of the challenges with losing open space is also the, no offense to anyone who's just moved to the township, but we've seen, as many communities, close to very organized areas, New York City and so forth, you get a lot of people who move to the community who may still be, working in New York and so forth like that. And they're moving to this area because there's more open space because of quality of life and so forth, and it's putting pressure on us for development. So it's kind of like, I guess maybe that's an option that it's a little bit more equitable as far as if you choose to live in this area because of the open space or at least the quality of life that's here, and you're willing to pay for this area, which is also relatively low taxes, then that's something that can affect yes, it's a large population, but it's not affecting the seniors, it's not affecting large landowners. And it's still a ballot question. So that was one that we felt also with the average household income in the township, that works out really well for this community to raise a lot of money fast, as opposed to some other more rural communities that don't have as many people with as high of household income. And that really, to me, the silver bullet here is partnering that option with the non-electoral debt financing. So we know property values in the township are very high, and the ability to generate enough income from the small scale EIT increase, because we also, as part of that, we did the polling and we looked at the numbers through that finance study as to like, what's, how high of a tax can we go to generate enough revenue to actually be effective in this, but we didn't want it to be too daunting. So that's why we wanted the 0.1%. By getting that 0.1% over a couple of years, you're still never really that close to being able to just purchase a property. Mm-hmm. So that, coupled with the bond for the township to be able to like act quickly and take out a bond for some of these larger high priority properties, we can do that and then use the money raised from the EIT to pay down those annual debt obligations. So that's in there. Plus, The other aspect of just grants, we've been trying to utilize as many grants as we can in any department across the township to save money and just utilize what's out there. Grants for open space preservation, there's a lot of different types of sources, but there's always also a lot of different stipulations to that. So I put in some details about 3 programs here that are specifically used for open space preservation in 3 different ways. One, the Farmland Preservation Program for ag, DCNR for what I call your natural areas, and DCD, Greenway Trails and Rec Program for more of the recreation end of it. All of those, maybe not the county farmland preservation program, but they usually require matching funds. So having our own source of funding unlocks those. Otherwise, we're taking money from the general fund, and it becomes a little bit more difficult to plan for those. The county farmland preservation program is excellent, but it's tough. It's not that attractive for, I would say, certain property owners, only because there's a cap on what they'll pay for the easement price. Plus, easements in itself is challenging, given the specifics that we have. We don't have a lot of individual farms or individual farmers in this township. I think we talked about this when Bushkill came in, Bushkill Township, and they have just a different dynamic of more properties, more property owners. They can kind of work with farmers who want to continue to farm that. We have a lot of large open space properties, few landowners, and few farmers, honestly. So I think having the ability for us to be very nimble and to take advantage of grants when we can, but I do see us using a lot of the funds for projects that probably wouldn't rank very high for grants, comparing on a statewide level, and gives us the ability to act quickly when timing is so key, to be almost on the same level or at the on the same playing field as the development pressure. But so yeah, I put that in there just as some general interest. If anyone has any questions, if you're if you want a little bit more information, just reach out. We talked a little bit about like the outside campaign. I don't know if anyone's seen anything yet. I know that there was interest in having yard signs and door hangers.
I've seen all of it.
Okay.
We got a little door hanger on our
Oh, great.
door. I've seen a couple yard signs out there. So-
Excellent.
Who put that out, distributed it?
I know there was a commissioner who was interested in that. I don't know who all was involved specifically. But because if you remember, we talked about like how much can this board do as this board, kind of stretching that line. So I think, and I'm hoping, I believe there is interest in having some presence on election day, to have some information on that for people right at the polling places.
Yes.
But
Interesting.
So, I mean, Commissioner Ross talked to us about that at the Sunset Summer Festival, that he was putting some stuff together for distribution, so.
Cool.
So that's,
And this one.
that's possibly, have you got yours? Yeah, because I'm out at the far end, I didn't have anything.
I mean, somebody hung it on our door, I don't know.
I had Diane come to my house, like when I was there, and like handed out, and
Oh, really?
oh, really?
it was
Okay.
Wow.
Chris and Monica, and I believe, pretty sure it was like a pro referendum
Okay.
little thing as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I haven't really followed up with them on like what specifically how they're rolling it out. I just I saw Jacob showed
Yeah,
us.
I was happy to see, I mean, all the commissioners, I think, even the ones running who aren't existing have been for it,
Yeah,
so it is
yeah.
definitely a good sign.
Yeah.
I know that was a concern was, if we're encouraging it and we're not getting any backup, like how much time do we want to spend, so.
Sounds like anyone who's voting for an elected official understands that that elected official is in support of the referendum, right?
That's my, I mean, I haven't
I think so, yeah.
confirmed, but
Okay.
everything I've seen, I think, has led to that.
It's wonderful.
So my question to Chris was, my wife asked me a question, was the tax increase the first thing that was considered? And, what other options are there for funding open space? So I asked that question to Chris, that's why he put all this together.
Nice.
And Chris would be happy to know that on her mailing balance, she did choose to support the referendum.
Excellent, thank you.
All right.
It only took 3 pages of notes to get.
Wow.
Now, was she an engineer as well, who like needed those facts?
Right.
You know?
She's got a business
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it is an important question, and I think
Yeah.
that it's not that people aren't necessarily in support of open space or even in support of, you know, some sort of funding mechanism for it, but like, why this one?
Right, yeah.
I
The-
think people, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I just think, just based on some of the meetings that I attended, I'm not quite sure how the residents thought it would happen. You know, like.
How
How-
open space?
Yeah, and,
Oh,
you know, preserve. Why aren't we preserving was the question.
Well, I think Chris's summary here is
Yeah.
a very good explanation of how
It is.
insufficient the other funding mechanisms
Yeah.
are for doing this, so, yeah.
It's not an easy question to answer, you know, but I mean, they would have needed a lot of information, you know, to explain that to people, and I don't think they got it, you know, I mean, they weren't getting it. It was kind of like they thought this was something magical almost that would happen, you know.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing it? Well, we need the money. There's a lot of reasons why, you know.
Well, you can always take it out of the general fund.
Right, but the farmers have-
then there's other priorities
Yeah.
that don't get funded if you do that.
Right.
So,
And the farmers had to agree, you know, they have to be part of it. And
Mhm.
so, you know, it was just very interesting. You know, we really didn't know.
What I'm happy about is that we're able to kind of work on 2 things in tandem. The zoning updates I mentioned earlier, the Jordan Valley open space overlay, like that's a big tool to help also with that question. That's one of the biggest things that like we talked about, and certainly like Dave before I even got here, we talked about in some of the comprehensive plan meetings of like, there's, you know, this is one aspect of being proactive, but there's also the being more equipped and responding better with land development and making sure open space is, you know, open space with intent, and that you have enough of it, and that you're, you know, sticking to it, to the requirements. So I'm really glad that, you know, this is on the referendum now. And this gives us an option. At the same time, we're putting a lot of steps into not just that overlay, but as part of that will include updating our general codes for the whole township, as I mentioned with the land development review, to make sure that the open space that we're requiring is quality and it's enough and so forth. So we're trying to hit it from all angles, and it's cool to do that at the same time, because it doesn't always work out that way.
once again, we're way over time, but, courtesy of the floor is-
I had one thing for courtesy of the floor. I'm sorry, I put it in your packet, just at the end, another reminder, the EAC Fall Gathering is Saturday, November 15th. This is the statewide EAC network. They just came out with the agenda. I mentioned before, but I looked at the agenda. I thought it was actually pretty interesting. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If anyone was interested in attending this, again, it's a Saturday, it's all day. But if anyone's interested, let me know. There is a registration fee, but we can look at that. But I thought that the session topics were actually interesting.
Is there anyone you know going?
From other EACs?
Or like someone who maybe can provide some handouts that were given to them?
I've attended this when it was in conjunction with another conference. I think a lot of this is really geared towards people, like it's the networking, and it's we're all in the same boat. Like this isn't your professional job as a, you know, municipal employee. This is like, how do you feel comfortable engaging with the public on, you know, challenging topics, or how do you, you know, continue with like what the watershed stewards talked about last time with trying to get volunteers engaged and so forth. A lot of what I liked in here is they actually talked about some ordinance updates and things like that. So I think it's like a more of a better like primer for people. I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, here's a good technical agenda. I think it's more like if you have questions that you want to feel more comfortable in the work that you guys are all doing here. It's a whole network of people that are either doing it for the first time, you know, as like a newer EAC like us or have been involved in an EAC for 40 years and they've done great projects.
Yeah, I just saw the easy win section and I was like, I would just love to read those easy.
Those easy wins. Was that one of the, it's like the quick, is that the lightning round? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they have there. Yeah.
You can ask the green building people if anyone's got.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know.
I'll send them a 20 for a copy of the notes. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, yes. Well, we have a EAC person. Yeah, right. There you go.
The other thing I'll mention, courtesy of the floor, is that the High Valley EAC network is still doing their monthly breakfast meetings. And so we should probably look for an opportunity to maybe even host one of those in the new year. I'm not maybe not right away, but I think it'd be a good opportunity for us to kind of stay involved with that group. I mean, it's I'm not sure there hasn't been a lot of unity around topics, which EAC seems to be doing their own thing, but would be interesting, I think, to get together and talk with them about some stuff. So either attend one of the breakfasts that are coming up, or maybe actually host one ourselves.
So does the host put on some sort of presentation?
No, it's just
Oh.
it's open for. I mean, the host basically finds a place.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Did anyone attend the plastic thing that they did? Yeah, I didn't, but I wanted to. That looked interesting, but we didn't get to it.
Chris, did you want to mention about the new members?
Oh, yes, thank you. They had the interviews for new members a couple weeks ago, and I think they've selected two to fill the vacancies. I don't know who, but that'll be on the agenda for the next Board of Commissioners meeting, that they'll actually appoint those members. I was hoping people would maybe show up. That's why I was wondering if you were one of those people. Yeah. But yeah.
I applied and then life got busy.
Yeah. So there were blanks in the agenda, so maybe they haven't reached out to them yet to see if they fully accept it or not. But it would have been great to have them here.
If you guys have alternates, I'd be happy to put my name for. But I'm assuming, is it just 8 vacancies?
7 members, but like we said at the beginning, this is a very, there's not a lot of voting going on here, so really the only piece for the members is the voting and, the face of it, but we obviously encourage participation. I don't know, we haven't had.
Well, I had applied years ago when it was the GAC. I didn't get selected, and I still started showing up to the meeting.
Now look at
He's
fully
still-
showered and
he's
ready
still
to
not a
go.
member. We don't even know it.
I was the chairperson for a while too. I went from they didn't want me to the chairperson within like a year. Thankfully, I took it back over because I'm not good at that. So.
And I know we had more interviews than vacancies too, so that's
Cool.
the other thing. I'm
You
really
can join my
curious.
losers club. It'll be
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll
Have
have those
more.
people here in November.
Yeah. It's
We still-
up to them how much they want to participate. So that's.
come.
Yeah. And
It's a strong statement.
I'll say this. I mean, we've had appointments in the past that they were no shows on other boards, and we went a couple months, and then we were like, yeah, no one's gonna show up, but we have other people waiting to get on, and we've done that before. So I think
I mean, one of the reasons that this Green Advisory Council became the EAC is because we had a separate Environmental Advisory Council that was basically in name only. The people, I guess there were a couple of people who were listed as members, but there were no meetings, no agendas. I mean,
for the EAC, yeah,
like
it was
EAC, yeah.
it was ordained in the 70s when EACs really came about in Pennsylvania, but I think it was a matter of, hey, are you interested in staying on this board so we can have this board? But yeah, I don't think anything happened.
Yeah, so the idea was to reconstitute the EAC as an active board, which is why this group came into being, like I said, about 1.5 years ago. So.
I don't know that one. I can't look it up.
I have one thing.
What date would that occur, Derek?
Yeah.
Google's your friend. I just don't like not knowing things, so I'm just always have to look up stuff.
I just have one thing, and I know this is a whole topic and we don't have time today or in the future, hopefully we do, but Alpo is a big problem for me. And it's a big problem for me. And I I know there was a class action lawsuit that was settled, and that was maybe about 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. Residents signed off on it, that they can no longer contest it forever. I did not sign it. We have a lot of new residents that are now have moved into South Whitehall Township. And part of the agreement back then was that they were supposed to change the filters more regularly on their exhausts or whatever it is. And I have not noticed a difference at all. And it's the smell. It's the smell. You smell it. And so I just would like to maybe start a conversation.
So, funny transition from that, we had the EAC in the 1970s when EACs came about. We had 3 boards. We had the GAC, the EAC that didn't do anything, and we had the Air Pollution Board that was started because of Alpo probably around the 70s. And that had specific intent to it, but I don't know how much that carried forward in what they were able to do, because it was just a township-led board. And then obviously with the more intensive, class action suit and everything like that. But so that's definitely part of this board's
It's a very
purview.
sensitive subject around here because, people are very sensitive about their jobs there. And so it's really it's not personal. It's just that, you're smelling it, that means it's going in, right? So,
What's it smell like?
Terrible.
death.
Really? Killing animals?
Well, they do the 3 Ds there, dead, dying, and diseased meat. They can use that there. And so that smell of dead, dying, and diseased meats and ingredients are in the air. And they do it early in the morning, like at 5, thinking that people aren't gonna get up that early and smell it. And I'm up that early and I smell it. So by I don't know if anyone else is up that early, I feel like you might be up that early.
It gets locked in.
Yeah,
It gets locked into this building because of the suction of the
Yeah.
doors, so that it sits in here and it it doesn't, yeah. Like
you
as soon
can't
as that
tell me
door.
that that's not gonna have a negative effect on you after years
Oh, yeah,
of time.
yeah.
So I don't know where to start. But I'd love to start.
Well,
So,
oh, I'm sorry.
bless you. I think the place to start would be to look at the settlement, right? What was mandated, I think we would need to understand what was agreed to, and then we could, start to think about, are they in compliance with what was agreed to, or if what was agreed to isn't sufficient. I think we'd have to involve the solicitor at some point if we wanted to do anything.
Yeah, so I can do a little research on what our involvement, as the township was under that suit. Because I'm not familiar with it. I imagine that we were part of it.
The letters I received came from a lawyer that was down south. There wasn't even a local lawyer that represented us. Yeah, and it was very interesting. And so what more to that, certainly frustrating. I probably have the documentation somewhere, but I don't even know how helpful that would be, but finding, I don't know. How would we find that out? How would we find out who the counsel was for that? I could look at my,
I'll look at mine too, because actually,
yeah, I'm sure I have it somewhere.
I got a settlement check soon after I moved in. It was quite the welcome present.
So you signed then?
Yeah, I never smelled it. I mean, I don't smell it where I live. I was right on the edge of their little circle they drew. And I think I certainly maybe lived there 6 months. So I moved in 19, so
How much, do you mind if I ask you what the settlement check was? You don't have to.
maybe 1,300 if I
Yeah.
remember right. I mean,
That's what I was gonna guess that people were gonna do.
6-year-old memory is not the best.
I know.
What did you sign? What did it say?
I don't know. I said I'm getting
Well,
money.
I wouldn't
I
say
think that
so.
would be the place to start. What you
Right, I'll-
sign,
I can
right?
look back.
Means that he can never contest it ever again. He can never go to court, you can never say
Right.
that it's a problem.
Right.
And so that was the small print
Wow.
that, is, I picked up on. And so we would need the people who didn't sign it and the people who are new. And those are the people that, would help make the noise. I mean, certainly people who signed it can help
Well,
make.
too,
the
if they're not
noise.
following the consent order, I can do it even though I signed. I'll be like, listen,
Well, that's
you told me
fair.
you're doing it,
But I
you
mean,
did
if
not.
there was some settlement,
That's true,
then I assume Alpha was required to do something, right?
Yeah, and that's
What
sort
were they
of,
required to do? I mean,
so like, that's where I would caution if there's a class action and if the township was involved. And if they had like if we signed off on it and if we had those stipulations.
Right.
Then we could follow up on that. But if we weren't involved, I would caution as the EAC, like, I don't know, we can't get involved in a class action suit, resurfacing a class action suit. So I can do a little research onto like what maybe we have with Alpo on that, but I'll say the other challenge is like speaking specifically from the municipal standpoint, like Alpo has been around for decades. So anything new that we would create to try to abate that situation, they could fight and say, well, we've been here. Like we don't have to follow your new code because we've already been here. So it's kind of to Frank's point, like
Okay,
if there's
yeah, I agree with
something that's zoning laws. Yeah, I mean, it's.
So they only have to follow the original zoning laws in which they signed. Like, they don't have to keep up with.
Well, the problem is
amendments
it's
and
about.
Excuse my ignorance.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. And it's a good question with, anything that comes up, in the future with us. Like, so, you want it to be fair to someone that you're not, disproportionately changing a law to put down another type of use or another person. So you're not doing the opposite, say like, oh, I don't like Sarah, I don't want to allow her to do this, and I'm going to use zoning to change that so that you can, so to prevent you from doing this. It's like, hey, if I've met the law, I haven't done anything new. Now, if Alpo came in and did something new that created the problem worse, and if we had some sort of smell ordinance, for lack of a better term, that could be enforceable, then that's where it could be applied. But and I can look back at those air pollution.
I smell it and it's not going away.
That's
It's
interesting.
only gotten worse and I don't,
That's interesting. Because a couple of years ago,
sorry.
no, that's right, a few years ago, I can't tell you when, I either attended it or a township meeting or it was virtual, and the CEO from Alcon was there. And he explained to the board what he was doing for these odors, because so many complaints had come in. So I don't know about the lawsuit, but he stood up before the board and talked about the things that they had put on, filter, whatever it was, and he said he felt confident that that was going to take care of the problem. It would be very interesting to go back and see, look at, the minutes, however they kept them.
Well, and I'll say this, like, you're not alone in, like, it's an issue. Like, it's obviously an issue that not only we hear from residents, but we experience.
It too.
And I'd say that the lack of something changing is not encouraging. Probably because there's not something very clearly that we can point to that we, just as a municipality, has the ability to force them to change some of that, or at least it's not, even if there was something we could do, it doesn't seem to be working.
So there's not something similar or parallel to, like, let's say, a noise ordinance, to have air quality ordinance.
But there is, but
Yeah.
even our noise ordinance is flawed. And not talking about what we did for the PERT, that was very specific to the data center component of it. Our current noise ordinance is almost impossible to enforce. Our code enforcement officer has challenges with it every day. And that is a nuisance best handled by the local municipality, because it's a nuisance affecting the municipality that the municipality can point to, here's a resident complaints for it and everything. Smell, yeah, but it's also, it's also handled at the state level too. You know, DEP is, from an air quality perspective, they have to,
Particulates.
yeah, they have permits approved through DEP, and where does DEP's hammer come in? I don't know.
It'd be interesting to get the information from that meeting that the CEO was at, because there was extensive conversation and what he said he was gonna do.
And I can follow up with administration and say, where are we with Nestle?
Yeah.
They don't want to be called Alpo, it's Nestle.
And that's,
That's like Karina.
Yeah.
They also didn't hire me back in 2019, so I cut it out for them.
But I will
This is
definitely
my role
follow up.
coordinator, I'm glad I don't have that job now.
I can follow up, and I do think that it is something that there's a conversation to be had with this board. I would just caution with the class action.
And I'm not trying to go start a fire immediately. But I just, I would love to not have a class, you know, that's closed and done with and null and void now, but, you know, certainly a conversation or something, or I don't know. I don't know, that's why I'm bringing it up, but having a class action lawsuit is not a favorable thing. I don't want that to happen. Perfect world, I just want them to fix it. I'm not trying to shut them down. I just don't want to smell it. And I don't want to fear that my children are going to have some long-term freak effect happening to them because of the particulates they're smelling every day. On the weekends.
I mean, as a board, are we empowered to have a conversation with them? I mean,
So, I was wondering about.
Not from, just say that, you know, this is an environmental issue that's been raised by residents. We'd just like to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can be done about it? I mean, not.
I'm wondering,
ranting or-
like, kind of what Marie was saying, like, if they came and did a presentation, like, could we ask that again as a starting point? Like, just say, hey, we continue to get complaints. We're doing our best in your job in, like, saying, like, here's what they say they're doing, like, come speak to our residents about it. And whether that's a conversation starting here with the EAC in this forum, or if that's a separate meeting, because I think there'll be a lot of people who would want to attend that.
Yes, I do. And I think that would be great. And then it also goes on record that that happened. Should things start to have to snowball.
I would imagine would there not be something, if it's a a smell complaint, you would imagine there would be something on their website that there would be their canned response about what they're doing to be able to mitigate those things. Speaking from a place who had like noise complaints from residents.
Yeah.
That it's like you kind of have your canned response about the things that you are doing in order to mitigate those things.
I mean, it's such a big corporation though. That's where I'm not sure,
Yeah, so
like,
it's like, oh,
yeah, like where do you start? Like, I think it's people know about it that live here, but like, I mean, yeah, you drive by and you see the water tower that has their name, but you don't really know what it is.
No. And like Derek doesn't live that far from me. He lives just a little bit back.
Well, we live in different directions.
I always think you live behind me.
I used to live there.
That's why I
Yeah,
think
no, I
that.
live that way now.
You don't smell it over there. Did you
No,
smell it
never
over there?
have. No, I think I was far, I smelled,
I live that way and I don't know.
Yeah, there was-
Right.
behind us, there was another thing where I lived, like by the old Sunset Grill. There was another place that smelled. I thought it was the place behind us. Maybe it was Alpo I was smelling from there.
It's a horrific smell. I
We
can't.
could-
It was not a good, it was definitely an animal smell.
And where I live, sorry, I live on Blue Barn Road. And so it's, I have a truck stop. I have a truck stop there. So it's not that close to them. And every, you know, on Saturday morning, I go outside, I love having my coffee outside. And I go outside at like 7 o'clock in the morning and that's all these smell. Horrible.
We can have a morning meeting in here when it gets trapped in overnight. Yeah, we can just schedule that and you guys can all smell it.
So that also, I would love to know the times in which because they're releasing something,
Yeah.
they're doing something and they're not doing it during normal business hours where people are smelling it. They're doing it at night, they're doing it in the early hours of the morning, they're doing it on the weekends, or early hours of the morning. Well, that's a little sus.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the requirements.
Yeah.
Like, they have to
Oh,
do it.
fair.
During those
Okay.
hours, it's
Right.
not
And I
Fair.
think that's where, that might have even started our conversations of
Mhm.
like, hey, we are smelling it during normal operating hours. Like, you're not doing it at 2 in the morning and it's dissipating. Like
Yeah.
it's hitting us and we're still getting complaints from people that like they're just noticeable. It's not someone out at 4 in the morning like, oh, it stinks. Like, and I'm gonna call the township.
What's doing up at this
Yeah.
time? Well, you know what? I still don't think it's good enough.
No, I agree, and I think there's a conversation to be had. I don't know what's gonna be.
I know, and I texted you the other week, and I dreaded, I could not bring it up here, and I've been wanting to for a while, and been putting it off, but I just have to get it off my chest and say it, and.
You can smell it when you go down, what's the road over here?
Walbert?
No, going this way.
Ridgeview.
Ridgeview.
Oh, Ridgeview,
Well, you
yeah.
can smell it when you get up to the crest of Ridgeview on a weekend, well, my husband and I be going there and we're like, oh, what's that smell?
That's
So
what
it's
it
very
is.
interesting that when you get up to that hill there.
I come in the morning and I smell it as soon as I get out of my car.
See that?
And it's worse when I get inside because again, it's
Wow.
sucked in.
Oh, that
I
is
mean,
bad
yeah,
news.
probably every other week. Yeah.
Wow.
I had someone, I smelled it the other day, I was at Warfield Middle School, so that was where we were. And she goes, oh geez, I go, oh my God, the smell. She goes, yeah, it's the turkey farm. I go, honey, that's not the turkey farm.
Oh, it's not the turkey farm?
We smell the turkey farm.
Okay, yeah, right, but it doesn't, the turkey
That's a
farm,
poop smell.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, and that doesn't, it's not as, it just doesn't stick to
Linger
you
as
as
much,
much,
yeah.
right? It's so,
That's amazing. You smell the turkey farm, didn't you?
thank you for listening to me, thank you.
I will follow up and try to get some direction. If we want to talk about it next meeting, we can have it on the agenda, try to get some direction as to like what the best course of action for this board could be, and even just kind of just general information.
Yeah, I think
Where we
as a
are.
board, if we could facilitate a conversation with residents, I mean, I think that's a better approach than trying to threaten anything.
Oh, for sure,
Right, so-
I definitely don't wanna do that immediately, but I don't wanna, I'm not signing any papers here.
We
I
know
just-
large companies, they generally want to be good neighbors.
They-
And so
I hope that is
Yeah.
true.
until it costs them something and then.
That's good.
But,
Yeah.
if there's things they could do that aren't very costly, I mean, then I think the conversation could maybe facilitate some of that.
I mean, it's simple, I don't
But
wanna.
they're not gonna put in a whole, the pollution abatement system that's billions of dollars if they don't have to, right?
Right, right.
So, but, maybe they're not
I don't
changing
want
it.
them to, I don't need them to close down, I don't need them to not be there, I just don't wanna smell it. At 4, 5, 7, ever, I don't wanna smell it ever. So, and that's period.
People that felt the same, and probably still do now.
Yeah. I just think about, certainly like I should care about adults and I do, but I think about the
Mhm.
children who have to grow up and smell that all the time. That has definitely got to have some negative long-term effects on your body. And we need Aaron Brockovich here to study that, and get those medical records.
Yes.
No, she needs to wheedle someone in order to get the details.
Just keep her away from my sites I manage at work. I would appreciate it.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But, no, I think the other thing, we can't get ahead of the board on this. I mean, we're advisory.
Right.
So we gotta just be.
Yeah.
I think
Careful.
we should follow Sarah's lead. You should thank her for Christmas. We're going right now, Paul. That's all I did,
Well,
We
yeah.
went that 10%
Yeah,
tax.
knock on the door.
Yeah, we got to take that 10%
Well,
tax
I
money.
think there's things that I can do just as a resident to help it mitigate that outside of the EAC.
I like I think
Having the right,
identifying the specific issue. Like, obviously, it stinks. Obviously, there's been conversations about the stink for 5 decades. And, obviously, things aren't working, and we want to know why and what's happening and what are they hearing, what are they aware of, because we know what we're hearing from our residents, and to give us a starting point of conversation. I think that's a very appropriate thing to ask of
We have a
Just
lot of new residents here.
I'd be curious as to what they're testing for too, like what the smell is, like what chemical compound that is. Like I'm from a lot of places where they have pulp mills, so there's like a very specific smell and a very specific gas that they do. So then they have different things where they have the air monitoring stations set up to measure those particulates. So you gotta imagine based on whatever those settlements that there would be based on a number that it's gonna be below X, Y, Z. And then what those numbers are.
She's from Canada.
That's what understanding what they agreed to do is important, right? I mean,
Yeah, I'll Google the settlement and see if I can find anything. I know enough about air quality to make my way through.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and what they're like, I mean, they have to have an air quality permit from DEP, but oftentimes what I find is that the threshold is like, they're gonna be under it, like they have to be under it.
Right, but it's also, like, it's unregulated chemicals, I'm sure most of them, so I don't think there's a state, like, smell threshold, I don't think.
no,
you can-
smell is a very difficult one
Yeah.
because different people have different thresholds.
Yeah, I think
And do
to
they have
kind of your
to
point
do it
of
every
like,
day?
There's like.
they
certain
know what
gases
they're
that
putting
they
out
don't
and it's
have.
like, yeah, they're,
It depends on how it's written.
Do you know what I mean? Are they monitored every day with this level that they have to be at?
I mean,
They
some
do
people-
it,
I'm sure they're monitored
every
for-
day at noon.
They also only
I mean,
monitor once a week.
Some things are continuously monitored, some things are spot monitored.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So-
So they know, well, we're only monitored this day, so on average, we can get away with it this much.
That's why we need to find out what was agreed in the settlement.
Yeah.
Because they could be doing exactly what you're saying. They just time it so that they pass the test, but it still stinks, right? So we just need to understand what they agreed to do.
But unfortunately, again, if there's no regulation, it's gonna be extra hard to, if they're not violating any law, then it becomes like difficult to like get it to change anything, you know?
and there's very little that we as a township can do to even like add the law or so.
No, but we can appeal to them to be a good neighbor, right?
Exactly.
We start there.
Yes.
They can say no, but I think that would be the place to start.
And then call Channel 10 News. I'm kidding.
No, I mean, there are avenues where you can publicize this kind of stuff in a way that could be embarrassing to them, and that creates some leverage, absolutely. But you don't start there, right? I mean, you want to start with a
No,
conversation.
we'll have the meeting and we'll get.
Sarah started there months, years ago, she was ready.
Channel 10
yeah.
when I leave here tonight. No,
All right,
thank you.
Let's adjourn the meeting, please. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:16,
Oh my goodness.
a 1 hour meeting. Will someone please second that?
Twist my arm, I'm sucking it.